Derp, derpity derp 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 derp.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to eBay Mail Day. I'm your host, That Signature Guy, and I've got 3 packages I want to take a look at with you guys today. The first one up is from Sea Paradise. He's a top-rated seller on eBay. Got a lot of positive feedback, but there's a couple stragglers there, and we're going to take a look at why. Now, and when I initially got the package, I wasn't too happy with it. I noticed it was a manila envelope. It was very crunched up. Manila envelopes, never a good way to send a comic, in my opinion, even if it's a cheap comic, $5 comic. If you're going to send a comic, you should at least use a cardboard envelope mailer. Manila envelope just doesn't cut it, in my opinion. But on top of that, the contents inside the package were actually loose. So what was inside was able to jiggle around, and it was able to loosen up the comic inside. As you can see, by taking a look right there, the comic's actually poking out a little bit from the cardboard. And that's part in due to being able to rock around in that package, because I'm sure it wasn't actually packed like that. I'm sure the comic didn't get wrapped up with the corner sticking out. And if it did, that's even worse on the seller's end. That's just really bad packaging, really bad selling. But on top of it, if you look at the cardboard here, you'll notice that the cardboard's got some bends. If you look at the tape, it's got some bends in it. Now, on top of that, it's got a handle hole. That means that cardboard is not flat. It's not laying flat on that spine of the book or any of that good stuff. So that could potentially do damage to the book too. You know, it's basically boo on the seller, in my opinion. It's something I personally would never do when selling a book. Even if it's a cheap book, I would at least use, a $5 mailing envelope with some cardboard to fill out the sides and tape the book down. This book, as you can see, wasn't even taped down to the inside of the cardboard. Another thing that could have helped out. It would have definitely helped out to prevent the comic from poking out a little bit, as it did when I opened the package initially. But other than that, I was, for the most part, pretty happy with the book. It was a book I've been looking for a minute. I'm starting a Snake Plissken collection right now. So this one was definitely something I had to grab, being as it was the only one signed by Tone Rodriguez, and it does come with a COA. I wasn't aware of it coming with a COA, just kind of showed up, but that's a bonus. It doesn't look like it's a legit COA. It looks like it's just something that was printed off. Maybe it was printed off from that comic book shop. I know some COAs tend to look a little bit sketchy. But either way, it's a nice little bump for the book. It did have some spine damage, nothing too fancy, but it was a little bit tough to tell because the book itself only had one image available when I was looking at it. But overall, I would say the seller is a neutral feedback. I personally don't think it deserves positive feedback for the way the book was handled. It could have potentially been much worse. I know it's tough to gauge if there was any damage based on what you can see, and even from what I was able to see, it was tough to tell. But it's not something I would ever have done when packaging a book. So it's definitely something I would at least want to let people know about and not brush over real quickly. The item did show up on time. Actually, it showed up before the scheduled time, so I got to definitely give them credit for that. Definitely a 5-star on the seller communication, because when I did ask him when he was shipping the book out, he immediately responded, letting me know what was going on with the book. So that's definitely 5-star. Now, like I said, the shipping speed, it came in fast, so that's a 5-star. The shipping costs, I would say they were reasonable, but at the same time, look how it was sent. So that would be something I would probably give a 1 or a 2-star to. That would be the one that I would really have to let people know about. And then the accurate description, there wasn't anything ill-described. It was a bad photo, but I opted for the book because it was the only one available, so I can't knock them for it. So 5-star. I would definitely consider buying again, but I would talk to the seller if I came through for another purchase and let them know the issue that I had. Now, this next seller, Mary Mills 67, I got this purchase. It was actually a media mail purchase. And I'm never a big fan of media mail. Always takes a little bit longer and still ends up costing me about the same, if not more, just for one book. But what really got me was the way it was packaged, man. The way it was packaged. If you look at this, it looks like some type of, you would think, at least originally looking at it, that's for like a record or something. I personally couldn't tell. To me, it looked like it was just some folded up cardboard after getting into it. But what really struck me as a boo on the seller was when I opened it up and found that there was damage to the book due to the packaging. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into it here, and you'll be able to check it out. But as an update to it, even though it's in the initial video, the seller actually did refund me. We came to an agreement on a partial refund, and I'm happy with the book. Now, you could see there that the corner was caught in the bend of the cardboard. Had the seller not created this makeshift packaging and pinched it in there, that probably wouldn't have happened. Also, again, there's no tape down on the cardboard, so the book was flying loose. That's always a potential reason why it happened as well. Also, I don't know if it's just the way these books are handled specifically or what, but this is the second one. I bought 2 of these now. I sold the first one to Speedy Comics on Instagram. This is my second one I've purchased. Both of these books do not come with boards. I know they originally did not come with a board, but nobody ever tends to ship them with a board, which is really, really, really bad because the paper in the book is a very, very fine paper. It's a very thin paper. On top of that, the book itself is thin. There's not a lot of pages. So some damage can happen. But like I said, I talked to the seller. She was very kind. These books actually came from her late father. So she was just trying to clear some room and, hook up sellers that were looking for books that are a little bit more obscure, like a Nestle quick reprint of Action Comics #1. But yeah, giving the thumbs down. Like I said, I was initially unhappy with the book. As you can see, I just kind of manhandled it a little bit when I flipped it over. But me and the seller came to an agreement. We worked it out, and I was overall pretty happy. I would definitely leave her positive feedback. The item shipped very fast, and like I said, she adjusted the partial refund for me, so I would definitely give her a 5 out of 5 on the shipping speed and the seller communication. And there was nothing ill described about the book, so I would personally give her a 5-star on that as well. The only thing that I would feel uncomfortable with is the shipping cost. I don't feel they were that reasonable, again, due to the way it was packed, but like I said, she was able to work on it, and we got it figured out. So 5 out of 5. Now this last one, personal favorite, Giovanni's Galleria. They're not a top-rated seller, but they are a heavy seller on eBay, and they're one of my personal favorites. This packaging is the best that I got for all 3 of the packages of the day. I always love when I get a priority mailbox. It comes in fast, and I know my package has got a little bit more protection. Now, Giovanni's, they're my big guys when it comes to Shadowhawk books. They've always got Jim Valentino signatures going on. I believe they do personal signings, so he actually comes into their store, he signs the books, and they do COAs there. So you get legit COAs. Now this it kind of caught me off guard. I looked at the packing material, and it's shredded comics. Shredded comics. Could you believe it? They used shredded comics. I almost lost it. But again, it's here and there. I'm not going to worry about it. It probably was a damaged comic or else not an expensive comic, but either way, just to see that happen, it kind of caught me off guard. But like I said, they have some really, really good books with Jim Valentino signatures. He comes in for personal signings, a very cool place to order from. They pack their stuff relatively well. The packing material that was used kind of left the entire package a tad loose in there. I personally would have reinforced it with some cardboard. They didn't do that. They just packed the books one on top of the other. But they did pack it with enough packing material that the book wasn't able to rock around, so that's one issue relieved for me. And on top of that, they did use a decent amount of bubble wrap, which is always good. Now they did toss in a freebie, which I thought was cool too, but I'll get to that in a second. Now, this is a stand that they included with a purchase of mine. I'll also show when I open up the package. But it's just a little bit of extra stuff that they kind of toss in. Like I said, Giovanni's, they should be a top-rated seller, in my opinion. They've always done right by me. I've never had any issues with them. I've always ordered from them when it comes to big Shadowhawk purchases or rare Shadowhawk books. Rare, in my opinion, as in tough to find. But they're always there. They always got something good. And it's always a joy to purchase from them. Now, like I said, they've always got accurate descriptions. They've never done anything wrong. I've never had any issues with them, so definitely a 5-star on that. Seller communication. I did get a little bit frustrated with them with the package. I wasn't sure what was going on with the shipping, and I was trying to get it shipped out quickly. So I did hit them a little bit rough, but they were very kind about it. They responded very respectfully, surprisingly. So I got to give them a 5-star on the seller communication. The shipping speed, 5 out of 5. It got here the day I expected it originally to get here, which is phenomenal. And then the shipping cost was only $6. They adjusted the shipping for me, which was great. I would definitely buy again, a 5 out of 5-star seller. Now that book I think is really cool. They included that in for free. It's just a little bump that they kind of give you, to say, hey, thanks for shopping here. It has a couple key characters on the front. I believe there was Black Bolt. There was, I think that's Magneto on it, and a couple other characters. I'm not too sure. I think there's Doctor Strange there. A little bit tough for me to see, some of the characters. But, it's a pretty cool book to toss in. Like I said, I always appreciate any type of freebie because I don't have the most easy access to purchase books. I have to get a lot of my stuff, if not all my stuff, online. I actually, as of late, have been getting all my stuff online because I don't have access to a vehicle or access to the store that I was going to. And personally, if I did have access, I wouldn't go to that store. I've had a lot of bad experiences with them, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, I always appreciate the freebies because it conveniences me, and more often than not, the freebie that I get is a book that I don't have. But beautiful, beautiful books that came in by Giovanni's Galleria. One other thing I will note that they should have done that I'm not happy with them doing is actually 2 things. Number 1, they stacked the card inside the order, so that card pressed up against the books a little bit. On top of that, they put the freebie on top of the card, so the freebie got a little bit damaged too. And the second one is the way I have the books laying now, cover facing up on all 3, is the way they packaged them. Now, when I personally package a book, there's 2 ways I'll do it. I'll either package them cover up, and I'll put cardboard or boards in between to, thicken it up and give it a difference, so it's not spine touching spine, or I'll flip the books. That way the spines don't press on each other. It's just one of the things I like to do. I know it's a little bit more nitpicky, but it's one of the things personally I like to see happen when it comes to getting a purchase online or getting any type of order through the mail that you may have that involves comics. But like I said, Giovanni's, 5 out of 5. There were no issues with the books. They all came in beautifully. Even if there would have been any issues, they would have been minor based on the way the books were packaged and everything. So I got to give them credit. And on top of that, the books were in Mylar. So the Mylar, being it's 2 mil Mylar, it's a little bit thicker. It worked perfect.